at TMEA. And that's really weird to go to a conference and not know anyone, because when we go to conferences, we kind of go and reconnect with our colleagues and share. And it's wonderful. And it's kind of weird to not have that in a very large place. And so I went to Anne's session, and she basically preached to the choir, like you do, which and her her most powerful statement was that we must love the children. And that still just sticks with me every day. And so, I was like sitting by myself, like kind of like emotional. And I was like, I'm not expecting to be an emotional person here in the middle of people that I don't know. And so I left it. I was super inspired, left the session, and I immediately stalked her on Facebook. And I said, Anne, can we please be friends? You don't know me. I'm out in the lobby. Could you come, would you mind saying hello? And she was like, absolutely. And so we became friends. She was my first friend in Texas. And then after that, I was invited to go to the University of Houston's alumni reception. Go Cougs, yeah. And I had to fake my way through the alma mater, which was amazing. And those are the moments that make those kind of experiences super duper special. And it's super amazing and a privilege to welcome Anne to our community. She is such a rock star. I've heard her choirs, they're phenomenal. Her husband is a band director. Her brother is a nephrologist in Hartford. And so when she comes to Hartford, I've seen her in Hartford, and I hope that when she comes to Connecticut, when times are a little bit better, that you can all bask in her glory. And today I'm really excited to share Anne Guess. And yeah, take it away, Anne. Thanks for being here.
Oh my goodness, I thank you for that. I'm in tears already. I am so humbled and so excited to be here with you awesome educators in Connecticut. Go Cougs, Megan. All right. So my whole shtick, I guess, is love the children. My friends here in Texas know me as the Love the Children lady. And so I decided to name this session that my previous session that Matt attended was not named that. It was a little bit different. But I wanted to share with you some tools that I keep falling back on every day. And the whole purpose, I'm gonna share my screen here, and I'm gonna share my sound. The whole purpose of, I don't know what is happening on my computer, all of a sudden there we go. The whole purpose of this session is really about building relationships. It's about building relationships with your children and yourself. And so I think the best way to build any relationship is to introduce yourself. So this is a little bit about me. Everything I do is stolen, like 99.9% of it. So feel free to, in the wise words of Megan in the previous session, take what serves you and leave what doesn't. Please steal it. 98% of the time I'm vamping and I'm waiting for a miracle. And I don't believe in disclaimers, but sometimes I give them anyway because I'm human and I'm working on discomfort too. And then what you see is what you get. Today I dressed up for you. I put on makeup and everything because I figured you might listen to me a little bit better if I was easier to look at. So, but generally speaking, here I am. And this is me. And hopefully I'm not perfect, but hopefully you'll get something from this session. I also believe that memes speak louder than words. So we can't be friends if I can't randomly blurt out songs. I am the director that will cut you off halfway through the complete run through. Always looks like the rest of my house right now. I can't, Megan turned her screen and I was like, oh, your house is so put together. Mine's not. I look like I'm losing Jumanji. This is me, tired, broke teacher all day long. Insanity creeps closer as we get towards March. That's our contest season. I don't have a fuse. I have a flashpoint. I go from perky, happy, excited to, oh my gosh, if you don't do this, I'm going to like self-immolate. I don't know. Like it just, I don't know. And then this is me. I mean, I'm out. I love my job. I love my kids. I love what I do. But when it's time to go, it's time to go. My family keeps me going. We're all a little silly. I have a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old, and as Matt said, my husband is a band director. I have a group of friends that we check in daily right now with voice messages and text messages and all the things because they're all choir directors and we all get it. I work out to keep my body healthy, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I do a lot of yoga, so the previous session. And then sometimes I'll let my kids watch 3 hours of TV or spend an entire day playing Roblox so that I can read my book, because my mental health is just as important as anything else. So this is who I want to be. If you don't know who this is Rita Pearson, and she was a goddess. She's passed on, may she rest in peace. But she was an educator, and she said the words that changed my career. The love the children shtick started when I was a first year teacher. I hated my job. I hated everything. It was the worst. I wanted to quit every single day. And I had a colleague who would say, girl, you gotta love those children. You gotta love them. And, you know, it was funny. It was a joke, right? And then I heard Rita Pearson speak, and I kind of grew up, and I went, oh, like, you mean that like literally, like we should love children. And that's when I realized my job isn't about the trophies, and it's not about music. It's not about, creating more educators and creating professional musicians. My job is about loving children, that they understand that they have an adult in their life who will never give up on them, that will understand the power of connection and demand that they are the best they can be. I have to remind myself that there are 85,000 different reasons people will sing back to you. Okay. And they're all valid and they're all wonderful. When kids come to us from strong and functioning families, it makes our job easy. And when they don't, it makes our job more important. Every kid is one caring adult away from us being a success story. And that might be you, and it might be me, and it might be me on my worst day, but they need that one adult. You're a great teacher. You're here, you're working on yourself, you're working on your craft. You are a great teacher, and don't you dare forget it. Megan cussed before. Am I allowed to cuss? Okay, I'm just asking. I'll try not to. Our job is to teach the students we have, not the ones we wish we had, not the ones that the neighbor has, not the ones that we had last year, the ones that are in our room right now. And I have to remind myself this every single year. I also have to remind myself in September that my kids aren't going to sound like they did last March or last May or last whatever, right? Like we're freshly starting again. And this, I have to remind myself that I'm loved and I am enough and I am strong. And even if my choirs don't sound the way I think they should at this point of the year because COVID, masks, shields, whatever, yuck, barf, it's still enough. So don't forget. Oh, by the way, I've got a lot I want to say, and I have an outline, and it's like 6 pages long, and I'm going to have it available for you in case we don't get through all of it, but I'm just going to like talk real fast and like word vomit at you. So I'd like you to reflect a little bit. Have you ever thought, these aren't choir kids, once these other kids quit, I can make something with these other ones. If only I worked somewhere with a choral tradition. Okay, so in Texas, believe it or not, we do have some places that don't have a choral tradition or a music tradition for whatever reason. And there are directors, I can think of them by name, I won't name them, that say things like this. Well, if I worked at Wood Creek Junior High or whatever, that's where I teach. Yeah, there is a choral tradition because the person who came before me worked their butt off to do it. And when you say things like that, it's kind of insulting to the kids and to your colleagues. I could really do something with kids like those. I want you to think about that for a second. I don't like my kids, but if I had kids like yours, one of my colleagues said this to me, and he was the inspiration for this whole presentation. I got so mad, y'all. You remember that flashpoint? Reached out and strangled him. Made me so mad. Encourage you instead. If you find a way to put them in my classroom, I will find a way to keep them, is what I used to say. Now I say, I will find a way to love them. And that doesn't always mean keep them. That doesn't always mean make them stay for 7 years, although that would make my choir mama heart happy. I will find a way to love them. Every kid is a choir kid. What can I, the teacher, do differently? Because let's be real. If they didn't need teaching, you wouldn't have a job. If they knew how to do it. I'm the teacher. Oh, look, I said it. I forgot. If they don't know it, I have to find a way to teach it. That's what I am tasked with. And some days it's easy. And some days it takes days and days and months, and you still maybe don't get all the way there. So let's talk about why. Your driving purpose, the motivation to get out of bed each and every day. And guys, right now, this is hard. It's hard for me. And please understand, like I've got some COVID fatigue. I've got some real struggles. And some days I look at my husband, I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed. And he says, okay. I'm like, okay, I'll go to work. So, it's just let off the steam, but think about why. And I wrote my why when I was fresh, when I was motivated, when it was like right after my session, I was like, I love children, yay. Because, you don't have to actually see them when you're giving this presentation, and they don't have their all nasty teenageriness. And so you're like, oh yeah, I love them. They're so awesome. So here's the elephant in the room. Why are you here? You're here because you need a paycheck, maybe. Like maybe you're in this job because you need a paycheck. Maybe you're burning out and you're looking for motivation, which is why you specifically came to the session. Maybe you hate your job and you're trying to find any reason to stay and or any reason to quit. I'm here because I don't understand. Maybe you're a brand new teacher and you're like, I don't get this. It gets better, I promise, and this is not a normal year. I'm here because I love my job and I just want to be better at it. Hooray, yay, we love you. I'm here for reasons that nobody knows. I don't know why I'm here, but here I am. Whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. What makes you stay? And I will tell you that this year, what makes me stay is loving children. To participate in music experience, to become a better musician, to help them serve as a role model for them, to use music as a vehicle, to increase test scores if that's important to you. It's not important to me, but add value to your community, your world, your life, the life of your students, to make children brave. That's one of my favorites. To create a passion in students that will breed lifelong musicians and lovers of music. I mean, that's a bonus. To love the children. That's why we're here. So this is my why, and it's complicated and fancy because I had a lot of time to think about it. To see each child achieve what he or she never dreamed possible, to give them courage to work for their dreams. And even though I may never see the results of their dreams, to show them that how an adult sets goals, works hard, and perseveres. I'm real honest with my kids, like real honest. To be an adult, sometimes the only adult that they can count on, to love the children enough to give them the best music education I can possibly give them, to show them the love in a manner that is meaningful to them, and to be their champion in all things. I want you, maybe not right now, but I want you to take a minute and write out your why. Write it out. It's really important that you physically do it and get it out of your brain and onto a piece of paper, and then you post that piece of paper above your computer and you look at it when it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're like, oh my God, I can't come back tomorrow. Look at the paper and remember your why. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so let's talk about loving the children. So whenever I say this, people are like, I don't think that means what you think it means, because you teach middle school and they're smelly. It's true, they are. They stink to high heaven. But I want you to watch a little bit of Rita Pearson. And this is an edited version of her TED Talk that I kind of clipped.
And we know why kids drop out. We know why kids don't learn. It's either poverty, low attendance, negative peer influences. We know why. But one of the things that we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. A colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed. Well, I said to her, kids don't learn from people they don't like. How do I raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievement at the same time? One year I came up with a bright idea. I told all my students, you were chosen to be in my class because I am the best teacher and you are the best students. They put us all together so we could show everybody else how to do it. One of the students said, really? I said, really? We have to show the other classes how to do it. So when we walk down the hall, people will notice us. So you can't make noise, you just have to strut. And I gave him a saying to say, I am somebody. I was somebody when I came. I'll be a better somebody when I leave. I am powerful and I am strong. I deserve the education that I get here. I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go. And they said, yeah. You say it long enough, it starts to be a part of you. I gave a quiz, 20 questions. Student missed 18. I put a +2 on this paper and a big smiley face. He said, Miss Pearson, is this an F? I said, yes. He said, then why'd you put a smiley face? I said, because you on the roll. You got 2 right, you didn't miss them all. I said, and when we review this, won't you do better? He said, yes, ma'am, I can do better. You see, -18 sucks all the life out of you. +2 said, I ain't all bad. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know your toughest kids are never absent. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference.
So if that doesn't inspire you, then I welcome you to, I'll see you later. Rita Pearson to me embodies everything that is right with education. So let's talk a little bit about how to build those connections, how to show the kids that you want to love them. They want to know how much you care before you care how much you know. Their perception is your reality. Nobody listens to teenagers because their perception is weird. And they will shut down if they think you don't like them. So show them that you like them. Treat them that they are valuable and their opinions matter. They will do anything for you. I had a conversation with my varsity girls a week ago, and I said, girls, your parents don't listen to you. And they're like, they don't listen to us, Mrs. Gutt. They don't, because they're teenagers, and what could they possibly have on their minds that's stressful? What could they possibly need when I provide everything for my child? Like, I don't understand why you, and they're very flippant, and they don't care. Let your kids have input and teach them that they don't get input all the time. You know, do you prefer the shields or the goggles? Do you prefer this or do you prefer that? Well, I'm sorry, you don't have a choice. We're wearing the formal dresses, suck it up. And then think like a teenager. They don't have a voice. They don't know how to use their voice. They're real eye rolly and lip smacky and gross. Teach them how to get through that, how to be taken seriously. You want to have input? This is how you need to approach me. I coach them all of that. Build a real student-teacher relationship by being real. Be yourself, okay? Now, I am very comfortable sharing lots of things. My child is in my choir program, so like it's just an extension of my life. Not everybody is, okay? You do what you're comfortable with, because if you're uncomfortable, the kids can smell it, okay? Please be appropriate. All right, I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but like, don't be gross, okay? Talk to them about things they care about. Do you know how many times a 7th grade boy has explained to me what pass interference is? Like 25 bazillion times. I still don't know what it is because they don't care. But I give them the opportunity. Oh my gosh, you got the game winning. What does that mean? That's an acronym I don't know. So just give them an opportunity. Hear them, see them, and love them. Children who are loved at home come to school to learn, and children who are not loved at home come to school to be loved. And I have to remind myself of this every day. I have several students right now that it's very obvious their home life is difficult. And they come in and I'm like, oh, and it makes my eyeball twitch. And then I go, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to love them through it. It may be stern love, but it's still love, because love does correct. Make choir safe, model a bully-free zone and a judgment-free zone. Insist that your students follow suit. And this means they have consequences when they don't. There are certain things that trigger me, and I tell the kids, you can go ahead and say that thing, but I won't remember what I do in response because I like black out and unleash the Kraken. One of them centers around this one. Have a plan for what to say when children come out to you. you may be the first adult they have told. And I say this because I am frequently the first adult that children come out to. And in the last 2 years, I've had more children come to me than I have in the past. And recently I read a book. What you say is just as important as what you do not say, or what you should not say. So I read a book where is a biography, and she was talking about how she came out and she said that her parents said, "I will love you no matter what." Now, I hope this isn't triggering. I can't speak to everyone's life experience, but her point of view was, when you say, "I will love you no matter what," it implies that you've done something wrong. I will love you even though you robbed a bank. I will love you even though whatever. And saying to a child, "I will love you even though you are gay or trans or whatever they tell you," maybe just, "I love you just the way you are." I tell my students, "You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And I love you, and I already knew." And they're like, "You knew?" Yes, I knew. I mean, I knew. And so when they realize that, like, they're practically wearing a sign. I mean, I love them. And I say to them, "I know." And they realize, "You loved me even though you knew." And it opens something up for them. Like, oh, maybe I am lovable. Maybe this is okay. And then I always ask them, "Do your parents know?" Because I don't want to be the one that tells them. That's not my job. And for the love, like, I don't even want to get into that. And I tell them it's going to be challenging. Okay. And I'm here and I love you. Be kinder than you feel. This one's hard for me. I work on it every day. Be kinder than you feel. It is always possible. You should be asking the why is this child acting this way, not the oh my God, this child is acting this way. Okay. Notice altered friendships. You can't sit with us. So my rule, number one, non-negotiable, is choir students never let anyone eat lunch alone. If you see somebody eating lunch alone, you go over there and you invite them to sit with you. They are welcome to say no and continue to sit alone, but you will take that step, and they know that. Notice chronic low mood. Use a concrete tool for this. So we've developed a tool that I found in the book Permission to Feel by Mark Brackett, Dr. Mark Brackett. And you can scan that if you like. It's basically a Google form, and they tell me I'm high positivity, 1 through 10 positivity, 1 through 10 energy. If they are high energy, high positivity, they're in a yellow range, which is happy, feeling good. If they are low positivity, high energy, it's red, it's angry, it's frustrated. If it's low and low, it's blue, depressed mood. And then high positivity, low energy is more like your calm, zen, centered, green. And so this form will automatically color code it. I've set it up to color code, and every day I check it. And I have several students who are chronically in the blue, and they are on my radar, and we've talked to counselors. And there are some kids who are like, "I love everything," all day long, every day. And I mean, it's just how they are. Children who need to be loved will ask for it in the most unloving ways. Please show compassion to them. Even remember that thing about, like, listen to them. You're not going to understand them because they're crazy. All kinds of stuff. I'm sorry. I just got like a weird notification. So if something is wrong with my sound, please let me know. Teach them what they don't know. I do this a lot. Things that don't have anything to do with the curriculum. They are not being taught at home 99% of the time. I hate to tell you. Okay, teach them how to approach difficult situations, that hard conversation with a parent, that hard conversation with a peer, body language, tone, intonation. Oh, that should say intonation, not in. Maybe it does mean intention. Okay, I did this. I'm tired. I don't know. But basically, like, we'll be having a conversation, and they're like, and I point out to them, is my body language telling you that I'm angry? No. Is my tone telling you that I'm angry? No. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of why you're behaving this way. So why are you giving me attitude? They all immediately, they do the check. They're like, oh, okay. And they suddenly stand up straight and they stop smacking their lips. They don't know. They're just oblivious, really. How to start a gratitude practice every day. Tell me one thing you're grateful for that gave you joy. How to write letters of thanks or appreciation. So I started this because at the end of a school year, I was bored and I didn't want to, they were rehearsed enough and I just couldn't do another day of sight reading and book work. So I said, think of a teacher that you love and write them a letter. And then I took it upon myself to deliver them. And it was harder than I thought it would be, but it was so worth it. And the fruits of those labors came back to me this year. I had a really nasty parent email. It was so hurtful. I almost gave my keys to my principal the same day. It was bad. And I confided in my friend who teaches at the high school that my students attend. And about a week later, I received a stack of letters. She had told her children, there was a choir director who had blah, 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 bad interaction. She's feeling really low. And we're going to write letters to teachers today. And so I didn't get one from every child in her class, obviously, but every child sent a letter to a teacher, and I got a whole stack. And it was incredible. So I encourage you to do that. What just happened? Oh, I don't know. My PowerPoint is, okay. How to give and accept a compliment. This compliment has to be specific, it has to be sincere, and it has to be succinct. And the only acceptable answer is thank you. Apologies have to be sincere, and there are no buts. I'm sorry for, but you were. Nope, that's not an apology. And we encourage random acts of kindness. Okay, acknowledge the hard stuff, have them look for silver linings, especially when they grumble. In my classroom, when they complain about standing, I tell them, think about a person with no legs. It sucks the air right out of the room. Think about a person in a wheelchair, of which we've had several in our program. Don't you think they'd love nothing better than to stand? I'll tell you what, my 7th grade boys don't complain about standing anymore. And find opportunities to explore empathy, like the one I just gave you. I read these books to my children. Some of the things in them are silly. Some of them are like right on point. How to Be a Gentleman. They're set up the same way. They're basically like, this is how a gentleman behaves. A gentleman always has a handkerchief to offer a weeping lady. I mean, that's one of the sillier, more old-fashioned ones. That's why it sticks in my head. A gentleman never wears brown shoes, blah, 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 to a workplace, or does not wear linen before Labor Day or Memorial Day or whatever. Stuff like that, silly stuff. And then there's other stuff. Always hold the door open for the person coming behind you, whether it's a man or a woman, old or young or whatever. So more concrete things. And the ladies' version reflects it. If you're interested in that. Okay, so you have to love the children enough to be a master teacher. This brings me to my second section. Super important to work on yourself. I am working on myself every day. I just took a whole slew of notes from Megan's session last hour that I plan to implement on Monday. So I've been doing this a long time. This is year 19 for me. I know, like, I started when I was 4. So, and I have the touch-up feature on my camera on, so like you can't see all the wrinkles. But so working on ourselves. Start with your master teachers. I literally want you to make a list. I made a list. Miss Owens taught me that every child can improve with patience and good teaching. Mrs. Williams taught me that it's okay to share your personal struggles. She was in the middle of an infertility battle when I was in her class. She didn't ever tell us that. And now as an adult, I see that and I understand that's what was happening. But she missed her class a lot because she had doctor's appointments. And she would share, I had a doctor's appointment, I'm sorry, and you could tell that it took a toll, and she was very appropriate, but she let us in. Mr. Johnson was that crazy teacher that everybody rumored like drank scope and slept under his desk, like for literally. Be laid back, but make sure you know when your kids mean business, or when you mean business. Oh, what just happened? Something's on autopilot. Computer. Mr. Venus, be passionate about what you teach. I know it's not showing, I'm sorry. That makes other people passionate about it too. Betsy Weber is the choir director, the head of choral studies at U of H. Always demand excellence. That woman still terrifies me. Don't tell her I said that. Just kidding, she knows. She's awesome. She's a consummate educator, and I credit her with my graduation. I had a lot of vocal pathology. I had surgery. I had to see a therapist, the whole 9. The voice teachers didn't want anything to do with me. They told me I was not viable. Betsy Weber made me finish my degree. She basically bullied me into it, and I'm so thankful to her every single day. And then there's my dad. He taught me to live life with integrity and responsibility, to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, to love children. Nobody loved children like my dad loved children. To honor hard work and reward excellence. We go to dinner for every report card, for every whatever. You did all the chores without being asked. Let's go buy you a toy, whatever. It doesn't, whatever is in your wheelhouse. Okay. Reward excellence like your hair is on fire. Your not so master teachers taught you betrayal, loneliness, voicelessness, and victimizations and survival. They made you cry. You don't like them. You think about them and you want to punch them in the throat. Okay. Don't be that guy. I don't know what is happening on my computer, y'all. For serious. The master teacher does not stop learning. They steal every idea we're stealing. If you find something you love, take it. If everything I say is garbage, then walk away. But steal, steal, steal. Understand that you he, she, they are always a work in progress. Sorry, I'm not being inclusive in that sentence. I apologize. Remember, the master teacher was once a beginner, and give yourself a break once in a while. Not every day, but once in a while, give yourself a break. And the kids, find a process, a routine every single day. It's not rocket surgery. Don't reinvent the wheel. You don't need to. I always like to say, do you like bar lines? I mean, I like bar lines. I didn't have to invent them. You know, I didn't have to invent solfege. I didn't have to invent anything like that kind of stuff. I use it every day. It works. Just do what works. Children thrive in structured environments, not rigid environments. So give them a structure, but be willing to bend with the wind, COVID. It builds momentum and muscle memory. It automatizes the mundane. See Darren Hardy, he's like a self-help guru, and he talks about doing small things every day lead to exponential results in the long term. Get in, get it done, and go home. We're gonna talk about this in our self-care session here more later in a minute. Steal every idea worth stealing. Ask for permission when it is appropriate, and always give credit where it's due. If it's copywritten, please follow the copyright laws. Look, people steal my stuff and they don't always give me credit, and that's cool, but it sure does make me feel good when I find out something I thought of worked or something I shared worked. So give credit, if for nothing else, to make another educator feel like their life is meaningful. You should reinvent the wheel when you've tried and it's just not working. You've given it a fair shot, you revamped, you redirected, it still isn't working. Your giant bag of tricks is empty. Your students have mastered this thing and now you want to try something new. Or if you're living through a pandemic, those are times when you should reinvent. Students crave structure and success. Give them as much success as you can. The other day, our sixth graders sight read like absolute dog garbage. It was awful. It was like a dumpster fire. And I was like, oh my God, I got to find something positive to say about this. I was like, you sang dough twice and it was right. And I literally said that. And it was a mess. So spell it out, tiny successes, you sang dough, yay. You got all the way through, you didn't stop singing. For the more advanced kids, do you remember when this part was hard and now it's like nothing? You do it in your sleep practically. You had great energy. Sometimes that's all you got. Don't neglect where they started and where they are now. This helps with that grit, what's it called? Growth mindset. It's super important. Help them understand they won't learn it all in a month or a year or 2 years or even 7 years, that I'm 41 years old. Shh, don't tell. And I'm still learning and still trying to be better. Know your strengths, find it help for where you struggle, and don't pretend. Your children will smell it and they will not respect you. They just won't. They don't respect pretend. When I'm pretending, I tell them, y'all, I'm pretending. Okay, just deal with it. Here are my one-liners. I always include these because maybe something speaks to you. Pick one. Louder, softer, higher, lower, faster, slower. Okay, 7 words or less. In a rehearsal, like you sang it, it needs to be louder. Sing it again, louder. Sing it again, faster. Sing it again, slower. Sing it again, whatever. Okay. The higher the note, the lower the belly button. I say that almost every day. Sing and live on purpose. Sing on purpose. Never sing louder than lovely. That one's stolen, by the way. Greg Morgan. I don't remember where he teaches now. He's moved. Assume it's you. Somebody sang a wrong note in measure 32. Assume it is you. Don't wait for someone else. Sing loud and proud. Pretend you actually like this class. Pretend you like it. Do it again. Prove it wasn't an accident. When they do it right, do it again. Prove it wasn't an accident. They did it twice. Do it again. Prove it wasn't a coincidence. Okay. My rule is 3. Some people do 4. Fake it till you make it. Fake it, show up, and take up your space. I loved what Megan had to say about the whole, like, this is my space and I have permission to make sound and take up vocal space here. I say that a lot. I don't use it. I don't say it Megan's way, but I might on Monday. Okay, so the yogi I follow on YouTube said this once: you serve no one by making yourself small. Take up your space. And there's no shortcut to any place worth going. There's no quick fix. This is every day, every day. And then at the end of the day, you have to take fault versus fault is like, oh, that's my fault. No, it's your responsibility. Okay, whether it's your fault or not. My 6th graders can't sight read. That's not my fault, but I got to figure it out. I'm going to kind of barrel through. This pandemic is not our fault. Helping students get through it as best we can is our responsibility. Everything that happens in a rehearsal is either a direct result of something you did or it is something you allowed to happen. If they miss the rhythm 25 times in measure 12 before you caught it, guess what? They just learned a wrong rhythm, right? You allowed that to continue. Betsy Weber said this. This is a mantra I tell myself every day. Objectively evaluate the rehearsal. Is it something you did? Is it something that you allowed? Did you do everything right and it still didn't work? Okay, what are we gonna do? Progress, not perfection. Always take responsibility regardless of the fault. Okay, that's why teacher is written on your paycheck. Create a new plan if today's didn't work. And remember, it's never the student's fault. It's not. If it were their fault, they'd be professionals and we would be unemployed. Don't compare these kids to other kids. Do not blame your assistant. Do not blame your predecessor. Do not blame your college choir director. Do not blame the weather. Don't even blame this pandemic. It sucks. It's the worst. It's awful. It causes all the problems. Take the responsibility anyway. Try scary things from time to time, like online learning. That's scary to me. Remember the emotional toll of the pandemic and the PPE he has on all of us. So this is where you take a step back and say, I got to love these children more than I've got to teach them dotted eighth 16th or whatever. Okay. The shields, by the way, we've been singing in shields. It totally sucks the energy right out of the room. Okay. So we're moving to safety glasses instead of shields. So we're singing masks and safety glasses starting Monday. The shields are awesome and safe. They will suck your soul dry. So just be careful. Just be mindful. Sometimes you have to reinvent the wheel. I talk about this all the time. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. Just do it. But sometimes you just have to. Okay, I'm trying to get to the last section, which I think is one of the most important. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. I think I've already talked about that. So who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. Some of us of a certain age identify with this reference, and some of us do not. That's fine. Keep a working list of colleagues and friends and what they excel at. Write it down. Have it ready. Do it over the summer, whatever. Colleagues on your campus, regardless of the discipline. I talk to my daughter's math teacher all the time. She's so smart, y'all. She's so smart. I mean, she teaches math. Ask administrators who to turn to for advice because they have a more global picture. And then read. I don't know how Connecticut works. Like we have posted contest results. So like I know what Johnny Joe Bob's choir did last year. Sometimes you look for the people who are consistently getting top ratings. Sometimes you're looking for the people who went from the lowest ratings to the highest ratings because they might have more information for you. Be silly and give them balance. So day one, maybe you're like taskmaster or whatever, you know, and day two, you're playing games and doing silly movements or whatever. Or maybe you do it all in one rehearsal. You know, my kids think I'm nuts. Make choices that give kids positive experiences. Do not program like a Bach chorale for 6th grade babies. Like that's just not smart programming. Give them something that is achievable for them. And in this year, I told my kids, I said, I'm going to underprogram and hope that we need to add more because I want you to have success before I want you to do some fancy whatever. Lower your standards and your expectations, even lower than the thought you just had, even lower, like even lower. I promise you will be rewarded if you lower your expectations as low as humanly possible. Making this year a little bit more bearable, take the pressure off. Teach them to love singing and to use music as a tool for self-care. And remember that children learn best through play and relationships are built on shared memories. I have a whole list of activities. They're here and they're in the document that I'm going to share. Some of these are face-to-face. Some of these are virtual friendly. Some of them are not. Be creative. Show and tell was my favorite. A friend of mine was like, bring your pet to virtual class on Friday. And so they shared their pets. Dance parties, yoga day, virtual tools in case you need them. Kahoot is great. Sight Reading Factory, you can do like quizzes and games on Kahoot. Sight Reading Factory like is worth every single penny. Flipgrid is like little videos where they can share videos of themselves. Teacher Made, you take PDFs and make them into virtual whatever, virtual like interactive assignments. Quizlet, you can do like tutorials on Quizlet. I have several, and you don't even have to make them. You can just search them and use other people's stuff. Stolen. Google Form, Jot Form, Sign Up Genius. We've been using more than and like every day, I think. Pear Deck is with Google Slides, like it interacts so the kids can write on the Google slide as an assignment. And then Note Flight is kind of like Sight Reading Factory, similar. I don't use that one, my band directors do. But those are just some stuff, and it's listed on the document that we will share at the end. Okay, come on. I don't know what's happening with my PowerPoint. Do some professional and personal development, and when in doubt, just think through it. It's fine. How to connect with kids. So how to connect with kids. I've got lots of ideas. Permission to Feel is a fantastic book. I've already talked about it. Kids Deserve It by Todd Nelsoni. The Five Love Languages of Children. Music Education and Social Emotional Learning. Those are just 4 titles, obviously not exhaustive list. And then I have a whole list of recommended Black Lives Matter literature that I read over the summer, not exhaustive, but really a good start, because if you teach children of color, you need to read this. Okay, I was like, my heart is pure. I'm an advocate. I'm an ally. Y'all, I was so misguided. I learned a lot this summer, and I recommend that you do this. And the list will be available to you to get you started. Me and White Supremacy. So you want to talk about race, how to be an anti-racist was a good one. If you don't teach children of color, you still need to read it. It's important because we've got to teach our children not of color the same stuff. Like, we need to teach them. Podcasts, there are several that I listen to for personal growth and several that I listen to just for fun. The Jordan Harbinger Show is kind of a personal development one. Savvy Psychologist, quick and dirty tips for better mental health. Unlocking Us with Brene Brown. I'm partial to her. She's here in Houston. She's a social worker and she's pretty awesome. So, and again, the list will be available to you. Attend conference outside of your immediate area. Come to Texas, y'all. I'll be there. We can be friends, okay? I just think it's awesome. Okay, this is the part. I have 9 minutes. I'm gonna vomit at you. Love yourself, please. The most important relationship you will ever build is the one with yourself. And I loved what Megan had to say about a lot of this. You cannot love children if you don't love yourself, if you don't take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Oh, oops. Physically, you need to get enough sleep. You cannot make up sleep. Okay, so if you're like, I'm gonna sleep for 3 hours tonight, but then this weekend, it doesn't work that way. Okay, 8 to 10 hours a night, you cannot make it up. Stay hydrated. So my brother, the nephrologist, by the way, if you need a kidney doctor in West Hartford, Michael Mustakakis, look him up. He's pretty good. Stay hydrated. The current wisdom is that half of your body weight in ounces will keep you hydrated. My brother yells at me every time I say this. He's like, an 88-year-old woman does not need 64 ounces of water every day. So talk to your doctor if you have health concerns. But generally, he says, if you're thirsty, drink some water. If you feel hungry, drink some water and then eat some food, okay? You can overhydrate. Please be careful. Eat a healthy and well-balanced diet. Okay, so I have some medical concerns and therefore my doctor put me on a keto diet. So I'm all whole foods all the time, most of the time, 99% of the time. Food doesn't have ingredients. Food is ingredients. Okay, that's a guideline. Now, I didn't go cold turkey one day and say, I'm never going to eat another whatever, and I'm going to yoga every single day. And then poof, I was suddenly like, whatever. Okay, it's one step at a time. Okay, disordered eating, be careful. If it affects your life, if it gives you anxiety, if it changes your behaviors around food, please seek some help. Please talk to a medical professional about disordered eating. Okay, and I struggled with this on and off in my life, and I still sometimes do, especially with keto. Please be careful. Taste the rainbow of phytonutrients. That was from my doctor way back when. He's like, you need to eat more purple foods. And I was like, you mean like Skittles? No, not like Skittles. Okay. So eat a variety of things. Avoid alcohol. I have a group of friends whom I love dearly, and every 5 o'clock every day, here's my beverage of choice, and they send a picture to the group chat. I'm like, oh, I don't drink because it's a migraine trigger, not because I have some lofty ideals. But alcohol is not really great for you. So please be careful. Please drink in moderation or not at all. I mean, you can have a good time about it. Find deliberate daily movement. I do yoga, do a 10-minute walk, do yoga, do hardcore gym workout like P90X or whatever at home. Find something, anything, okay, every day. Unmotivated, seek the help of a physical trainer, find a friend or a workout buddy, and then focus on the good for you do for your insides rather than outward sides. I'm not losing any weight. Well, okay, but I feel better. I've stopped taking a medication. I can fit into these pants that I haven't worn in 15 years. These pants are older than my child. I do have some of those. Okay. Consult your doctor before starting anything hardcore, or if you're having trouble, and make physical health about one small choice every day. Okay. When I started my physical health journey, I was 50 pounds overweight. And people look at me now and they're like, well, you're not Yeah, but I was, and I was not healthy, and my blood chemistry was like an 85-year-old man. Okay, it was bad, and it's still kind of bad, and I have to monitor it. So one small choice every single day. Vocally, speak in an appropriate register, please, and make sure you're speaking on the breath, just as you would for singing. Yelling should be avoided at all costs, but supported when necessary. You all know this, right? Speak only when students have stopped talking or singing. Like, don't talk over them. She's waiting, y'all. She's waiting. Yeah, she is, because I'm not going to ruin my voice for you. Sing in your register when modeling for students of the opposite gender. High for you is high for them. I tell my boys, high for me should be high in your register. And sometimes I'm an alto, so like I can sing down in like junior high baritone land. Like, let's be real, we're not real baritones. So I try to avoid it because it's not good for them orally, just as it's not great for me vocally. When you're sick, stay home. Seek medical attention. Stay home. Oh, I got this kind of tickle, but it's fine. No, stay home. Love you. Try not to sing when you're sick. You know this. I'm sure our doctor friend in the next hour is going to tell us all about that. Seek the help of a vocal therapist. It is absolutely worth every single penny. Singing voice specialists are angels from heaven, and they are wonderful. And the one that I worked with after my surgery reminded me like my psychological needs as well as my vocal needs. Emotional. This one's long and it's got a lot. So I'm going to 4 minutes. I got it. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So on Sundays, we do meals, we do outfits, we do calendar items. We sit down and Sunday afternoons are reserved for this. Communicate at work and home what your needs are. Plan PLC time each week with your partner or your spouse, with your colleagues, and divide duties. Automate and delegate everything possible, everything. Use a sharing system. I use Google Drive to help with division of labor at work. We use Apple products to help with division of labor at home. Group texts help. Start saying no. Remember that practice we did in the last hour? We were like, no. Okay, start saying no. Make rules in advance about accepting invitations. So when Matt contacted me about this, I went through my text PC. I said, would I accept it if it were tea tomorrow? Yes, I would. Are you genuinely excited? Excited about the opportunity? Absolutely. Will you gain experience or learn a new skill? Yes. Will you teach? That's the last T. Something exciting. You can read. Okay, I can't apparently. How much prep time will this invitation require? And do I have it? Is compensation adequate for the amount of time the invitation, travel, and prep? Ask. Okay, if this is a concern, like I really need to be paid for this, ask. There's no shame in saying my time is valuable, and I had to do this. I was out with brain surgery a couple years ago, and somebody invited me to do an all-day thing, and I had to take a day off. And I had to ask, how much does this pay? Because if I take a day off, they're going to dock my paycheck. So it was important. So ask. It's okay. Okay. Decide in advance how many will be a no for you, and how many of those questions can be a no and you still accept. How high does the compensation have to be to ignore the no's? They're all no, but you're going to pay me $7 million. I'm in. Okay. Like, write me a check. I'm all in. Okay. Create a calendar that is livable. Use color coding and prioritize. Set limits. Plan for a date night once a month, if you're married or you're with a significant other. Okay. Are you going to have a family night? Will you have a social night with friends and family? Will you do a boys or girls night out? We don't do that at our house. Like, my husband doesn't go out with the boys and I don't go out with the girls, but I know some people do and they need that, and that's okay. How many social engagements will we accept per week or per month? If you're living with somebody, you need to have this conversation. Okay. And again, with work engagements, my husband does this. It drives me crazy. And I'm like, how many have you accepted? Well, like 72. Yeah, I know. And guess what? When you're not here, I miss you. Okay. And so does the laundry. All right. I'm sorry. Was that too real? Plan work hours and stick with them. Okay. I leave at 4:20 every day. My alarm goes off. I get up from my desk and I leave. That's a lie. The alarm goes off and I go, okay, 5 more minutes. And then I work for 15 more minutes and then I leave. Okay. But have a cutoff. Okay. Do not do this to yourself. I'm talking fast, Matt, I promise. Leave work at work and find a way to decompress, like on the drive home, like yell and scream in your car, sing like 80s power ballads. I mean, I don't know. Do what makes you feel good. Take work email off of your phone. Take it off. Do it right now. So you see that flashpoint? Yeah. Don't do this to yourself. Okay. I left a job because of work email on my phone. The parents, I mean, I was literally in tears. Just don't do it. It's not good for you. Have a musical outlet not related to your job. Give yourself a break. Mental health days for you and your students. Give yourself permission to let go and remember, lower the expectation. Practice personal development. Oh, here are the list of those ones. And then find a hippie, take some yoga, take a class that isn't music, dancing, cooking, start a new hobby, hang out with positive people. Okay, stay away from the teacher's lounge and those friends of yours that are always complaining. I have a lot of those. Get off of social media. It was the best thing I ever did to myself, taking Facebook off my phone. You're the average of your 5 closest friends. So if the 5 people you hang out with the most are grumpy, you're going to be grumpy. Check in with your support group. Make sure you are, makes sure you're on the right team, right school, right district, right city, right profession. Okay, reevaluate this. You may not be in the right spot, and that's okay. Make your own joy. Skip down the hallway. I take my kids like on little field trips. We go down to the rotunda to sing. I'm like, okay, we got to skip, and we all skip down the hall, and they're all like, "You're nuts." Get inspired. Books, movies, quotes, etc. And seek therapy before you need it. Really, seek therapy. Do it. Have a plan. Ask for help. Parent volunteers, teachers, your administrators. We as a general population do not like to ask for help. We're all very self-sufficient. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Okay. You can call me. My information is on the front of the packet you're going to get. I'm better at email and texting than I am at phone calls. So I'm just saying. And then I'm parting thoughts. I'm done. I promise. If you found one thing that's useful, use it. And if you're overwhelmed, pick one thing. I word vomited at you and I gave you a lot and hopefully something was good. Focus on progress, not perfection. And this is what I ask myself when I'm faced with any decision. What is my legacy? I want my legacy to be that I love children, that I loved them enough to correct them, to yell at them, to hug them, to listen to them. What is your legacy? You create that for yourself, whatever that is. And that, my dear friends, is how you love the children.
You're the best.